Sometimes it can feel like gay men are kind of used as an accessory.
Yeah. Pride is about stepping into the light and being like, no, like,
Yeah.
I am beautifully and wonderfully made, you know. Boundaries of yesterday aren't necessarily the boundaries of today, right?
I feel quite uncomfortable actively listening to artists that have done like severe wrongs. I mean, there's different levels, obviously. Like, I didn't listen to Travis Scott for like 3 years because I felt so uncomfortable. My mum, you know that thing on Spotify when you can like block an artist? Have you seen that?
Oh, no.
I'll show you after.
Okay.
So my mum, obviously, she refuses to listen to R. Kelly.
Yeah, good.
She refuses to listen to Diddy. I personally didn't feel that music was ever that good anyway, personally, but that's just my take. There's somebody else, but I can't think of who it is. But there was like a group of people we were like sat talking about. She was like, I just can't listen to them. She was like, it's just so wrong. I was like, Mum, you've got better morals than most people. Big up you.
Yeah,
It just contributes to the cause, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I take back the good I just said there. Like, I mean, it's the way I see it is like it's everyone's choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like cancel culture, as we're told it is, like, just isn't real. Ultimately, everyone has their own choice to make their own decisions. Yeah, right. If I decide that because you've done X, I'm now not going to stream your music.
Yeah,
that's my choice. Is that not my business? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like, I feel like for whatever reason, if you feel like you can't, then you should like not support.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like, I think as much as we can encourage people to not support, people are also are entitled to kind of make their own kind of decisions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think like as well, I feel like sometimes, people, especially like in online spaces, they kind of grandstand in a way that like isn't actually really beneficial to the aim they claim to have.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Right? So like going for the shaming route rather than the educational route. So for example, being like someone, I don't know, posting, oh, I love the new song by X. I can't believe you're listening to X, don't you?
Yeah.
How do you not know their XYZ? And it's like, they may have done heinous things and we absolutely should be withdrawing our support, but why don't you just maybe give them the benefit of the doubt and some grace and maybe assume they maybe haven't seen, just be like, oh, hey babe, by the way, just gonna leave this link here.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? But I feel like sometimes people want to seem like the better person.
For sure. And I feel, I agree. And I also feel like, I mean, it's subjective. It's subjective. We all interpret things very differently. I think that's why I'm like not very heavy on stan culture. Because I feel like some people can be like so heavily like invested into an artist that they kind of like ignore their wrongs, even when the wrongs can be quite severe. Do you know what I mean? I think that's and I think that's really prominent for like pop female artists. Like that. I can't think of any examples, to be honest, but I can think of times where like someone has done something or said something, but because people are so dedicated to their support, they kind of pull it under the carpet.
Yeah.
Whereas I can't subscribe to that, because if you've done wrong, you're not for me, you know?
Yeah, but I think it's also levels to this as well, right? So I have people who I, support and admire who are flawed people, Yeah. And when I say flawed, I don't mean that they have, they're a bigot, right? What I mean is that, like, they may have, like, said something ignorant one time and then, and they corrected themselves, or, they're just, they're not perfect, right? Yeah. And I feel like part of my appreciation and love for them is me critiquing them and, like, calling them out when they're wrong.
Yeah.
Whilst, do you know what I mean? I feel like it's actually healthy to have a critical opinion of the people that you admire. Even, like, my heroes, right? In, like, my career and in media and culture and stuff, like, I'm still able to acknowledge when they've been wrong or when they've messed up. And I think, like, to flip it, I sometimes get people DM me and they're like, I'm so disappointed because you said this and this goes against the image that I had of you, or, you know, or how I perceive you to be. And it's like, well, that image is fake.
Yeah.
This is the real me.
Yeah.
And I'm just really just trying my best to just do better and be better out here,
Yeah, for sure. I hear that. And I do think also at the same time that I think the biggest strength is acknowledging mistakes, you know?
Right.
Like, no one's perfect. Like, we're not robots.
No.
Like, we all say things that we may have misworded or may have misinterpreted or whatever. I just think, I don't know, my thing's always been take every day as it comes, you know?
Yeah, I think like ultimately, you know, I got a chapter in my book that's all about why it's really important to allow yourself to change your opinion as you gain new information.
Agreed. Yes. Heavy.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if I change my mind on something, unless I share that opinion in a public space, I'm talking about online now, right? On my platforms, like, unless I shared it within like the past maybe 6 months,
yeah,
I'm not gonna correct myself. I'm just gonna do a new video and share my new opinion. Yeah. Like, I refuse to like judge myself for having a different opinion when I had less information.
Especially when it was like a while ago. Like,
yeah.
Naturally your brain changes and your thoughts change.
If it was like a year or 2 years ago, do you know what I mean? And again, there's levels to this, right? There's like extremes to this. Like, I'm not talking about, you know, you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like, you know, stuff that's just clear human rights and you obviously should know better, right? I'm talking about like nuanced discussions where actually I took one kind of certain nuanced stance before, like 2 years ago. Yeah. And now actually I take a different stance now, but I don't feel the need to go back and like correct that video from like 2021.
And like, to be honest, when you have like I guess when you're online and when you have a digital footprint, inevitably things change. Like I look at videos, right? Because I remember like this doesn't really happen anymore. But when I first started, like the hate was just crazy. Like, it was just like so excessive, right? On things that, for the most part, I stand by, but I've had it like recently where I'll say something and people, I don't know if you've ever had this, people can be really mad. I've had it where like someone has like time stamped me and been like, oh, like minute like 36, second 20. This doesn't apply back to something you said like a year and a half ago. And I was like, respectfully, like, things have changed.
Things have changed.
My knowledge has widened.
How about we flip it, right? And we go, oh, wow, like, I've realized that actually something you said in this episode contradicts something you said in a previous episode, like a year and a half ago. And either that shows, you know, growth, and I love that. And I love that you kind of, you're growing as a person, and I really respect that. Or, like, I feel like maybe you may have like, maybe you misconstrued something over time, or you've kind of misunderstood something over time, and actually if I could remind you of something you said like a year and a half ago, I feel that is like a better, more accurate representation of, you know, the reality of this issue or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, why not go down that route, right? You know,
I like that take a lot more
than being like, I caught you out, you said something different a year and a half ago. It's like, it's not productive.
No.
Right? And especially if you're somebody who, like, you know, because if you know that much about me, then you must be somebody who appreciates my work, right? And so therefore,
to an extent,
then, you know, or you're, what do people say all the time? Or you're a monitoring spirit. Have you
never heard of that?
You've heard of that?
What does it mean?
Oh my gosh. It's like this thing I've seen on Threads. I think it probably comes on Twitter or X, but I'm not on there anymore. But people being, it's such a detour, but people use the phrase to describe people who like watch you but don't support you online, or at least that's how I've seen it.
Yeah,
right? You're a monitoring spirit.
Yeah.
So people who like are the first people to watch your story, but they never like it, or, you know, they follow you online but they never like engage, or like, you know, they send your videos to the group chat but don't say it to your face and stuff like that. The reason why I'm like kind of eye rolling about it is that sometimes it's funny, and sometimes you use the phrase and it's kind of tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Like, the first person to watch a story is like, one is like, we all have that person, and you know what? And often it's like someone who you gave your number to like 3 years ago, and it went nowhere, they ghosted you, or whatever. And then why are you the first person to watch my story like 3 years later? Anyway, that's funny, right?
Story of my life.
What I think is just like really silly, and like we all need to kind of just like really like build a bridge. Is like people who, especially to be specific, like people who maybe are trying to like launch something online, or like they're content creators, or they have a business or whatever, and they're calling their friends in their personal life monitoring spirits because they're not underneath every single post like engaging or like liking or like visibly supporting. I feel like and this is my personal viewpoint on this,
for sure,
I feel like my friends are there to support me in my life in general. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That does include online support. I really value that, and I recognize that is like I really appreciate it when it happens. But at the same time, if you are somebody who, whenever we meet up, you always ask me about what I'm doing, like, you always like, how can I help you? Like, you're there for me when I'm going through hard times and stuff like that.
Right.
I feel like it's just unjust of me to then feel extremely strong about the fact that you don't like my stories. Like, I think that's kind of wild. Do you know what I mean? Now, if you don't support me in other ways and you're not supporting me online, then it's like, okay, well, are we even friends,
Agreed.
But not everyone has the same relationship with social media that you do.
Yeah.
And also, if you want that specific type of support, then maybe instead of like, moaning about it online, how about you just speak to your friends about it and be like, hey, it really means a lot to me if you like engage with some of my content because like it helps the algorithm or whatever.
Yeah.
And if they're your friends, like they'll do it.
For sure, without a doubt. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It does, yeah. Because I wouldn't even I personally wouldn't even think like that if my friends weren't to engage. It wouldn't even cross my mind. Like, oh, okay, whatever. Like I have some friends that will send me their stuff. Like, can you? Even a friend who actually before we started filming said, "Can you please pre-save this?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. Let me do it whenever." And I've had people say, "Oh, please like the post. It helps engagement." Like I'm here for it. It doesn't faze me. But I wouldn't. I can see it from both ends, but I wouldn't pick up on it. To be honest, I just my focus on my screen is just to post and to turn my phone off.
Yeah, fair.
Do you know?
And I also feel like, and this is very much from like a personal branding, like social media strategy perspective, right? Your friends aren't your audience.
Agreed.
You shouldn't be marketing to your friends.
Agreed. Yeah.
You're never going to get anywhere if you think your friends are your audience.
Yeah. It's just a bonus.
It's a bonus. You shouldn't even be trying to appeal to what your friends want.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they're not... If that's your end goal, then you could turn off your phone and just like go into the WhatsApp group chat and be like, hey, buy my thing or support my thing. But you're on a public platform. You're trying to reach a broad audience beyond your friends. Yeah. So then why are you even focusing on what your friends are doing?
That was actually reminding me of something. You're so right. Because I saw an old friend, I wouldn't really call him a friend anymore, but an old friend at a birthday party a few weeks ago. And he said to me, he was like, how's your podcast going? Going? And I was like, yeah, it's all right. Have you not seen it? And he says, I'm not your demographic. And I was like, do you know what? Fair.
I ate that one for sure.
Yeah.
T.
Yeah.
Honestly, T, like, I get it.
I respected it.
Honestly.
Like, okay, cool.
And even like, for me as somebody who I feel like my content, if you're not aligned with the values of my content, low key, I'm not sure if we should be friends.
Yeah.
Because of, you know what I mean? Because obviously it's very principles, values led for what I do, right?
Very much about like challenging status quo.
But what I do believe in, and I'm fine with, is that you can be aligned with my values and, what I stand for, but maybe just don't want my type of content on your feed still.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? You might, because there's so many people who do what I do, who are providing educational, informative content. They're doing it in different ways. You might want to do it. You might want to consume that content through like articles on Substack, or which actually I do now. So follow me on Substack.
I've seen it.
But I wasn't doing that before. You might want to consume it through like long form YouTube content, right?
Yeah.
Or you may want somebody who maybe is a bit more chill, casual approach to their content. I don't necessarily have that as much. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Right? It's like I don't necessarily take it to heart as much if my type of content isn't for your feed. Like, it's actually so fine.
Has that always been the case?
What?
Like, have you always had like the take where it's very much like, well, like if they don't like subscribe to it, it's cool? Has that always been like your like attitude since the jump?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big up you. I can't lie. Big up you.
And not to be like, not that I'm above caring. No one likes when a video bombs or you have a moment where you're losing a ton of followers, you don't know why. And like, I'm not above that, right? That's not what I'm saying. But I guess the approach I've always had is that ultimately, like, you're kind of playing a game that is like very fickle.
Yeah.
And actually in general, your life gets so much easier if you try and detach your sense of self-worth and what people think about you.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, and that's heightened on social media, right? That game of being like, okay, I put this out, I'm doing this thing, do people care about it? Do they care about it enough to like, comment, subscribe, follow? Do you know what I mean? Oh, if they don't care enough about it to do that, then that means that what I'm doing is really bad and therefore I'm awful. And it's a slippery slope. Like, I've really tried my best to approach what I do in a way that is sustainable, right? And
of course.
And I think in order for it to be sustainable, I need to detach it from my sense of worth. So I show up, I do what I can, and it just kind of just is
what it is.
What it is.
Yeah, I agree. It's quite, and I feel like a lot of people are very much in the game, in the space for the wrong reasons. And I don't mean that in a nasty way, because I think it's just such a popular take, you know? Like, it's very, like, I think a lot of people see it as like trips, deals, you know, like clicks and followers. And I think you feel the same way as I do. I care so much about community. I love like trying to connect and unite opinions, right, and make people feel like relatable. I have like, even though like I'm obviously not old at all, I'm not old, I'm 26 years old, I'm not old. Primarily a lot of my audience is younger gay black men.
Right.
You know, and like I love it when I go to Pussy Palace and they all say to me how much they love my stuff. I'm like, oh, stop it. But they call me uncle. I'm like, don't
oh
do
my
that.
God, stop. If you're uncle, what am I? Oh my gosh. I'm a grandfather clock over here. Jeez.
But that's the core purpose, right? And if I don't have that, my driving force has disappeared. You know?
Yeah. Oh, we got to know what your why is.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you really have to know what your why is. And I mean, that's also something that's helpful for me, is because my why is beyond social media. Like, social media is like it's a means to an end.
Yeah.
In a really specific way, right?
For sure.
Like, my content is meant to be a free resource, right? It's designed to equip and empower people to make a positive difference, and genuinely, right? That's what it's meant to be for. And then it also helps me build a platform where people can find me and then reach out to me for me to do like work offline, right? Because I'm a HR consultant and you know, and a speaker and facilitator, and so it drives that.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not online, and no shade, you know what I mean? Like, no, like I said, my sister's a content creator, and she, you know, goes on like brand trips and she does lots of PR stuff and like campaigns, and she's just amazing at what she does, right? She inspires me every day, but I'm not online to get trips or to get deals, and I think that really helps, because then it's like really, I think it's just more, I don't know, I'm less in the mix.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of content creators like are in the mix in terms of like they want to be like on the next brand trip, or they want to be flown out here, or they want to be at that event. Oh my gosh, events are like huge. Like, I'm so blessed and thankful that I get invited anywhere. Right.
Yeah,
right. But like I go to these events and people are like, oh my gosh, how did you get your invite? Oh my gosh, like who did you speak to and all this stuff? And it's like, like it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm not undermining the value. Like, I mean, like, it just depends on what you're there for. Like, some people are online in a capacity where going to events is important, and it is a reflection on how successful they are in their space. But I just feel really grateful that that's not necessarily the case for me. Like, if I go get invited to like an event or a premiere or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, a great night out, love it.
For
you know what I mean? It's not a reflection.
Free food, free drink.
I don't need to take it as a reflection on like how successful I am as like an inclusion and wellbeing consultant.
For sure.
But that's, I guess, a privileged position to be in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a really special position to be in, because people not so much events. Events isn't really my gag, but I guess that's because I don't live in London. So when I get invited, I'm like, okay, maybe not. Yeah, but like when I get to do like really cool stuff, people say to me, they'll be like, oh, how did you do that? I'm like, guys, it's hard work. Like when I interviewed. You know, it's hard work, to be honest. Like when I interviewed Jordan Stevens, people kept on saying to me, how did you do it? I was like, guys, hard work. Hard work. I don't know what else to say to you. Like, building a relationship with the people that were behind the scenes, and they were like, okay, cool, we think you can do the job. Can you do this time and this day? And then, you know?
Yeah, too.
Yeah. But I hope you're aware that you're very important to the culture and to the community. Wow. I hope you know that.
That's a big statement.
It's a true statement.
But thank you.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think like we adore you. I rave about you to like everyone. I just hope you're aware of how important you are.
Oh gosh, thank you.
Let's not do this. But no, seriously, like I don't think it's fair to have. I don't think it's fair to have you here and have you sit opposite me and not be made aware of that. So.
Thank you. That's yeah. Wait, let's be specific. What culture are we talking about?
Well, like gay and black.
Gay and black culture. Okay, yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah. I'd say I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. As you should be.
Thank you. Yeah. I think, you know, especially being like gay, black and African, like Ghanaian specifically, I feel very passionately about being the most me that I can be in like every space where possible to provide that representation, you know, because there isn't that much of it, you know.
For sure. No,
I come from a culture that is very hostile to people like me, right? People who are queer. And so, providing that representation is really important. And it's not something that I place on my head like you know, like a friggin' like rock that, you know, it doesn't weigh me down, but it's more of a thing. I don't feel the pressure to be perfect or whatever, but it's more, like I said, like just being the most me and just showing up as my full self. And I think that is like enough.
A skill in itself.
To inspire other people to do the same.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. You know, I actually met a really beautiful Ghanaian from Pussy Palace, so I hope he's well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Oh, like, thing is, right, my issue is, right, I have like, this is so stupid. I have it where like, if I fancy someone, I come across kind of hostile because I'm quite shy, right? Whereas like, if I don't fancy someone, I'm really friendly and it always gets misinterpreted, but it's just me being friendly. And then obviously they get the wrong idea. They're trying to move and I'm like, oh, yo, that's not, it was actually your mate I was trying to talk to.
Oh, no.
Hope he's well.
Oh, no. Oh, so you're a bit like, inside yourself.
One of them.
Yeah. I can relate to that hard, like so hard. Like, but the thing is, what I think, something that's really helped me try and get out of that, and I'm still trying, is to think like, what is it about the situation with somebody you don't fancy that much or you don't fancy at all that makes it easy to talk to them? It's like you're not deeping it.
Yeah.
When you're talking to that guy you fancy, you're really deeping it. And so what I try and see it as more so when I am trying to be more, do the whole IRL thing, is just try to see it as like a game.
Yeah.
Try and gamify it a bit, do you know what I mean? It's like less so like, that guy's hot, I wonder if he likes me, like am I lovable, like going down that route, right? Just being like, that's a fit guy, I'm having a good time, do you know what I mean? Like, let me see if I can chat him up, like what lines could I use, like, do you know what I mean? Like trying to like, just trying your best not to like be less in your head and overthink, right? And also something that I also try and think about as well is that like, and this is a generalization, but I think a lot of people have their market, like have their like have the types of people who they tend to be attracted to, right?
Do I know it?
And so really, I think it sometimes doesn't necessarily even matter like what you say. If you show up as your full self and you're in their market, like it's gonna go somewhere.
You're secured.
It's gonna work. You just need to show up. You need to like say something. You need to approach them, right? Just be like, hey, I'm interested. And if they're interested in you as well, like it'll just work naturally.
Win-win.
Often what happens is in situations where you're like, damn, like I laid on them, like I was really charming, and it was dead. It's like you probably weren't their market. No. It was never gonna, like, you're just not their type, I guess, you know.
I hear
and
it.
And that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent like a really long time like being really angry and voicing how people need to be more open-minded, but now I'm just like, do you know what? Fair. But I don't know. I think because I am very open-minded. Like my type really isn't set. I mean, I'd be lying if I said my type isn't men who are black or mixed, but that's only because of the trauma that I've been given from like men outside of that group. But like, if I met someone who didn't match that and was kind to me and showed me respect and everything that ticked like a fair few boxes, I'm secure. Fair. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but. Yeah, maybe not for the time being. Maybe when Pride Month approaches. Oh, sorry, we're in Pride Month.
We are in Pride Month. It's coming out in Pride Month. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Pride Month. Yeah, well, this is like the perfect time as well. Like, I'm gonna be out here. You know, if you see me out here, don't be being like, "Are you Benjy from wherever?" Don't.
Just come and listen.
No.
Sorry,
that's not what I'm saying either.
Sorry, don't.
I'm gonna be courting, okay, respectfully engaging, okay,
sorry,
with other fine, you know,
autocorrect.
Well, the eligible bachelors, you know, and you know, at the events I'm going to be at this Pride Month, you know.
I'm so excited for Pride. Because do you know what it is, right? I'm really grateful that in the UK, I don't know what it's like for other countries, I can't talk on their behalf. I'm really grateful that it lasts the whole summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know that, like, I mean, obviously we're in June.
My Jeep's at the start of June. Yeah, that's basically Pride. Are you going?
Going on the Sunday.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
So this is my issue, right? So I love Kesha. Love Kesha. Never seen her. Love Kate Nash. Love Pixie Lot.
Yeah.
However, there is nobody I am more obsessed with than Jade.
Okay. Yeah.
Jade obviously got announced like not too long back on the Saturday. I was like, oh, for God's sake. But it's all right because she's going to All Points East with like Ray and Tyler and Doechii, and me and my friends from uni are going to that, so it's fine. But yeah, going on the Sunday with my friends.
Okay. Oh, I love Mighty Hoopla.
Never been.
Oh my gosh, I think I've literally been to every Mighty Hoopla there's ever been.
Love.
Like I have like a lifetime. There was like 1 year where I got a free ticket. They need to circle back to me on that. Hi Mighty Hoopla. Hello. Hi. I'll post about it. I do love it. No, I do genuinely love it. Like I feel like, I mean, you know, it's not, there are many, you know, issues, you know, it reflects the scene.
It looks very vibrant. Very
vibrant.
Yeah.
It does reflect the gen pop, like, I didn't want to say queer, like gay scene, you know.
Yeah, which I'm here for.
It's a lot of like cis white men, essentially. So it's like diversity wise, like, you know, it could always be better. It's not like a, you know, like a Pussy Palace. Do you know what I mean? Like
most of my black gay friends won't go to it.
Yeah, but what I would say is that, like, aside from that, it's such a like joyful, open, like just fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I think because like none of the artists are really taking themselves like too seriously, it's just like camp pop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so joyful, and like I've had so many just, like great memories with my friends at Mighty Hoopla, and it's just a highlight of my year. I love it.
It's very much like the music we like grew up loving.
Yeah,
that's the vibe that I always find when I look at the lineup. Yeah, I'm very excited.
No, it's a vibe, and like the reason I was like Saturday, not Sunday, not Saturday, is because like
who's on Saturday?
I think Saturday's just like the bigger day because obviously Monday's not a bank holiday.
Yeah, of course.
But Sunday is vibe. I'm going to both days, so Sunday will be a vibe. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I can't even remember who's even.
Is it Loreen?
I don't know. I bought my ticket for this year, like the Monday after last year.
I hear it. Save some money.
Me and my friend, like my friend Marion, shout out Marion, was like, I was like, hey, did you get him saved? Yeah, you're good. She's like, yeah, I did. Got my ticket for next year. Here's the link. I was like, sure.
Love.
Sign of a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, we just always go. So, which is weird. I don't know how I've never ever had something clash with it. But anyway.
Yeah,
I'll see you there.
Yes.
What was happening in June? I might actually look at my calendar. Hold on. Queer House Party.
Do you know what? I've heard about Queer House Party, but I've just never...
For real?
Because me and my friends, right, we're very much thinking, what are we going to do for summer to replace Pussy Palace? We've been talking about this for like the last 2 months. Like, what are we going to do? Because and my friends are like, oh, it will come. It's going to come back. I was like, it's not going to come back till like autumn, which is a shame because it's really fun in the summer.
It is.
The one that was what was the last theme before? Like the one that was like everything. The one before that was really fun.
I can't remember.
Neither can I. But that one was. I remember bumping into you and you were talking to my friends. Yeah, that one was really fun. Yeah.
Queer House Party is fun.
Okay.
Queer House Party is in a name. It's very queer.
Yeah. As it should be.
Like it's a great mix of people. Like very diverse. Feels very inclusive. And it's like great music. It's a vibe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite parties. I'd say,
wicked. All right. I'll add to the list. I'm very excited for Brighton.
Brighton Pride is my favourite Pride.
Same.
I mean, I went to uni in Brighton.
Yeah, Sussex, right?
It's Sussex, so it's got like a nostalgic feel for me. Although I'm missing the Saturday this year because I'm in Mykonos. Well, so I'm in Mykonos like the Tuesday to the Saturday, and I land at Gatwick at like midday on the Saturday. And all my friends are like, oh, just get the train down and come to Pride.
Yeah, Gatwick's not far.
But I'm not going to Mykonos for like a retreat.
So you need to recover on Saturday.
Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like I'm gonna land and not be in the good. But I really want to go. I'm gonna see. But I'm definitely gonna do the Sunday.
Yeah, wicked. I'm gonna do just this. Well, Friday and Saturday. Friday they usually have like a silent disco on the pier.
Right. Oh no way.
Which is really fun.
I've never done that.
Yeah, and then Saturday. Who's headlining? Is it Mariah Carey?
Mariah Carey, yeah.
She's not really my vibe, but my friend's like obsessed. He's not that much older. He's like 2 or 3 years older, and he's like, oh my God, so iconic. And I was like, I actually know 4 songs, but I'm sure she'll be a vibe.
Yeah.
But everyone's just so happy at Brighton Pride. The last time I went, though, it was raining. You know, on Black Eyed Peas headlines?
Oh my gosh. I walked the parade that year. It was so bleak.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So bleak.
It was a lot,
I wasn't feeling the vibes on that Pride, yeah. I still had a good time, but...
It's just not the same, is it?
When you're in, like, when you got, like, the poncho and, like...
You're not looking sexy.
No.
You can't finesse anyone.
No.
Yeah. Saying that, though, someone actually did come up to me in the audience, and they were like, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. I genuinely thought someone was, like, pranking me. And they were like, oh, my God, fella, are you from Love Island? I was like, look at where I am. Look at my eyebrows. Look at where I am. But thank you. I'll take the compliment.
Are you from Love Island?
Yeah.
What? Who did they think you were?
I didn't ask, to be honest, because I just thought the question was so stupid. But like, I was like, interesting. Okay.
Well, they might. Yeah. I mean, we don't all look the same. What do you mean?
I think they just saw mixed race square.
Yeah. Thought you were like wanna. Yeah.
I'll take the win. But yeah, no. So yeah, Brighton Pride, my first Black Pride as well.
Yeah, they announced the theme, Becoming.
So that's gonna be really,
which is great.
That's gonna be really
Your
fun.
first one, no way.
Yeah, I know. It's really poor of me to have not gone so far, but I think, do you know, it's because it's on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But my friend's sister has just moved to London. She was like, well, she hasn't said it, but I'm assuming she's going to let me crash. So yeah,
it's great. It's a great vibe, and like I think like that's one where like it does just feel like such an important, like, purposeful space.
For sure, yeah.
And I spoke at it last year.
Nice.
Well, I like hosted a panel.
Oh, that's fun. They do panels. That's cool.
Yeah, they've got like a speakers corner.
I love that. That's my vibe to a T.
Yeah, panels and talks and things like that. And so it was really awesome to like be like a part of it. Also, I interviewed Lady Phil like the year before for it. Yeah, so I've been like involved to a certain extent for the last like few years, and like
as you should be.
It's so, I mean, it's an honor to even, you know, to be a part of it and to have been a part of it, and it's such an important space. And yeah, I get it. On a Sunday, it's like, because, you know, you can't really like go hard like you do on other Pride. You could, you know, depends what you're doing. But
we've all booked the Monday off.
Yeah, but I feel like I could do that, and I have done that, and like not really drank. Do you know what I mean? Not really like done partied, like just really like been centre myself in the space and in the community. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I do.
And I think it's such an important like lifeline for so many.
For
and
sure.
shout out to Lady Phil and all the organisers.
For sure. Yeah. I'm really grateful to be like young and alive in a time where like it's really prominent and really popping.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like, you know, it's not perfect. But we have so few spaces like that, you know, as a people. So
for sure,
it's definitely like vital. But like whenever I see criticisms of it, I'm like, yeah, that's great. Like I said earlier, like that's great. Like I think we should be critical, but we always should be critical, right?
Yeah.
But we should be using that criticism in a positive way, you know, to
shape what's next.
Yeah, exactly. To either contribute to making the thing you're critiquing better, or to like creating your own space, creating a better space. Like, do you know what I mean?
I do.
Like, let's build, right? That's always my perspective, anyway.
Very exciting. Yeah. If you see me doing God knows what, respect yourself. There's nothing worse when you see someone you know from online, right? And they see you moving mad. I just this happens at Pussy Palace every time I'm there. And they're, oh my God, from TikTok. No one ever knows my name. They always say from TikTok.
From TikTok, yeah. Well, with TikTok, the algorithm means the way it works, like it's like it de-incentivizes people actually like getting to know who you are. So there's so many people who they come from my FYP and I'm like, oh, I see them in person. I'm like, oh, but I know their face and I know what they do, but I couldn't tell you their name or like that much about who they are. I think that's just the way TikTok kind of works. Like, for better or for worse, you know, I think you know, the positive is that like it's allowed so many people to like get reach and get visibility of their you know, their work and stuff. But I think other platforms make it a bit easier for people to like. I got recognized the other day from LinkedIn, which was very niche.
Fun.
Niche in terms of audience size, comparative, right? But that was a very specific sort of recognition because they're very much like new, like, you know, what like my work background and stuff. And the fact that I come from like a comms and advertising perspective on these things and like work stuff. It was more like a work. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, basically what I'm trying to say is that like I think where people know you from really influences their understanding of like who you are and what you do. And I think it's like really interesting
for sure.
In that way. Like an Instagram, somebody knows you from Instagram is like different. Somebody knows you from like TikTok, knows you from like LinkedIn. It's
different like narratives, isn't it, in a way, and different like or just different audiences, I guess.
Yeah, and like something I would love to be able to do at like a certain point in my career is like have a strategy. I probably need like a team, right?
Pending
to really be able to curate for each platform in each space that I'm in, because really that's where you maximize like impact, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Copy and pasting across like is the most efficient way, but from an impact skinner perspective, it's like you're losing out. Do you know what I mean? Like what works. Sorry.
No, you were talking. That's my bad.
No, I was gonna say what works on one, it might work on the other, but it's something else might work better.
Yeah, you need to tailor and adapt.
Format-wise.
Yeah,
I don't do any of that. I ain't got time.
It's hard on a one-man team.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is impressive. Like,
Thank
I think,
you.
like,
I appreciate you.
Podcasting, like, is hard.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't do is the audio editing, because I don't understand it.
Okay.
I'm meant to be doing a class soon to learn it, but oh god, he's going to listen to this. I haven't got a job. Obviously, you can still do this, Chris, innit? But like, but yeah, like they're just. I think it is really important to acknowledge when there are certain things you can't do. Like the audio editing, I just can't do. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But I want to learn because I think it's good to maximize my skills. But everything else is me.
Yeah, so, no, I rate it, and
thanks,
I think like
man.
it's a tough space to like to be like. It's a tough space to be in, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the fact that you've been able to sustain this is like really awesome.
I appreciate
think,
you.
And stay consistent. Yeah, for sure, definitely. No, I mean I had a podcast for like.
Oh my god, yes, I remember.
Was it even a year? Did it make it to a year? I had a fun time doing it, but.
Yes, because the first time I met you, you had just started it at Madam Joyce's.
The Spotify thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with my friend Ollie. Shout out Ollie.
Big up Ollie.
I actually saw him the other day. Actually, it was a great experience. To be honest, like it was really fun to like do something with like my friend, and like it was like I really treasure that experience from like I guess like a friendship perspective,
for sure,
and a good times perspective.
Yeah.
But from like a work perspective, it was hard.
Yeah,
it was so hard, and just it gave me so much additional respect for people who have been like podcasters in the game for like time, because it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not. I really enjoyed it for what it was worth.
Well, what the podcast?
Yeah,
I think No. I think I'm really proud of what we did. I think really what it came down to was like, I guess efficiency. This is so like
of course,
boring and dry. But I think for both of us, where we were looking to go,
didn't align.
The podcast was taking so much and not giving us back enough.
Yeah.
Against like our career goals,
For sure.
Like I'm really, really, really trying to, like I said, like put out content that, informs, inspires, and I believe the podcast did do that. But I'm also trying to reach as many people as I can. One, to get, positive messages out there and important messages out there, but also to increase my reach so that I can just do more impactful stuff off platform, right, offline in IRL. And like it's hard, like to build a podcast audience. It's hard. Like you've really got to push, and it was taking away from me working on other content like videos, and my educational bits, and so therefore it was like limiting me, like limiting my prospects as like. As a consultant, I guess. Unfortunately, if I had like a team again, or like, if I could have people helping, then it would have been different. But
in
we
the
were
future,
doing it ourselves.
Maybe some will pop up manifest.
Maybe. Do you know what though? I actually also think that I love doing this. Like, I love like popping up and being like, hey. But I actually think like when it comes to my own stuff, I don't necessarily think I'm like I think I'm more of like a writer than like a talker, actually.
Yeah.
When it comes to like content creation. Yeah. I'm a speaker in terms of like, I'm a talker in terms of like I love to speak and like I love to like design like training programs and like deliver them, and and I think facilitation is really like something that I'm really passionate about, and it's a skill that I hone. In terms of like video content, like for example like YouTube, like long form YouTube is something that I just don't think I have the
you can't do it all, man,
energy for. Or like podcasts. I feel like it's not necessarily my forte.
But you thrive in other spaces, so you're good. You're good.
Yeah, and you got to know what's in your toolbox. You know what I mean?
It's a strength to acknowledge you can't do it all.
Exactly, 100%, definitely. And I think like also within the spaces that we're in, I think a lot of people are hurting their own feelings because they're really trying really hard to
do multiple avenues
and work on stuff which maybe just isn't your forte. Like, this thing just like is not for you.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Keep going at it, but with an acknowledgement if you enjoy it. But keep going at, but just know that like it's probably not, you're not gonna hit the heights that you think you really want for yourself because it's just not maybe for you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fine.
I agree.
To a certain extent.
Yeah. As long as it's not like financially draining you or mentally draining you to the extremes. Go off.
Yeah.
Go off.
And when I say like for you, I kind of just mean like for your natural inherent skill set, right?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mean like systemic barriers and things like that.
I'm with you.
I mean, that advice kind of still applies a little bit, but I'm not. But that's a critique that I would give for like the system more than you as an individual, right?
For sure.
But it still kind of low key applies a little bit in the sense that like, if you are somebody who is like if you are like a content creator from like a marginalized community, right? You have to understand that ultimately, unfortunately, because of systemic, structural barriers and, prejudices in our society, right? And systems of oppression, you are not going to hit the same heights as Lucy or, somebody who is in a dominant group. Let me be more specific. If you're like a Black creator, you can't be looking at white creators who are doing the exact same thing, maybe even worse than you, and being like, how come their video's getting like X amount of views and mine's getting Y amount of views, right? Mm-hmm. Because to a certain extent, like we live in a society, the playing field isn't level.
We don't cater to everyone. We don't cater to the majority. But there's just a hard pill you have to swallow. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. And we should be challenging the system, of course, do you know what I mean? We absolutely should be. But again, to protect your own well-being, you need to acknowledge that there are systems at play that are working against you.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know, like, that's just kind of the way it is, right?
For sure.
The reason why, so-and-so is doing better is partially because of who they are. Like, if you've done like an objective assessment and you've been like, I'm say you're like a makeup content creator and I've got the ring light and I'm doing the beats and I'm doing the transitions, and I'm putting out 3 videos a day for 7 days a week, and I'm hustling but I'm still not reaching the same heights that so and so is. Like, why is that? And you're Black and they're white. Let's be acknowledging the state of the world and be moving on. For your own sake. Do you know what I mean? For your own sake.
For your own well-being.
For your own well-being, yeah.
I know that's right. But yeah. On that note, happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month.
Come on, Pride.
Come on, Pride. It's just a gay year. It's a gay summer. I'm so here for it.
I love it.
Yeah. I feel like the older I get, the more I like embrace being queer and being Black. And I like the more I love being queer and being Black. But when you really like probably felt really comfortable like talking about it properly in like the last like 3 years. Before I was just like meh. But that was before building a community and meeting people that are like me. When you're from somewhere that's very like white, heteronormative.
Yeah.
you kind of naturally have to grow bonds with those people. And obviously my white heteronormative friends are great. I adore them. I've managed to find like the most accepting white straight male friends ever. It's really weird, but I don't know if that's just because I just shove my opinions like in conversation quite frequently.
Right.
But what does Pride Month mean to you? What are you saying?
Ooh, what does Pride Month mean to me? I think it's really about remembering who came before us, right? What has come before us, what has paved the way, right, for us to get to where we're at today. Gaining lessons from the past, you know, because a lot of the issues that we're facing are not new, you know. Our elders, you know, were facing similar struggles and obstacles. And so it's really about centering ourselves in where we have come from, and then thinking about where we're at now, you know, and what obstacles like our community is facing and all intersections of our community are facing right now, and taking stock, but then also celebrating, you know, where we're at right now, and also celebrating our history and the amazing things that, you know, we've contributed to society as a whole. I should have mentioned that earlier, but, you know, it's celebration as well.
And I think sometimes people forget that.
Yeah, you know, I think, well, the reason why the person who came up, is credited with coming up with the slogan Pride for Pride marches. He got it he didn't invent Pride as a slogan in general, that came before. But anyway, they needed a slogan for Pride, the first Pride marches in New York. And C. Schumacher, I think his name is.
Okay.
And he said, well, let's call it Pride. Let's call them Pride marches, because the poison is shame, and so therefore the antidote must therefore be pride.
That's beautifully
which I think
worded.
is so powerful.
Yeah, extremely.
Right? Because shame forces us into the shadows, it forces us to second guess ourselves and invalidate ourselves, dehumanize ourselves, say that, you know, the way that the world perceives us to be is like correct, you know. And so pride is about stepping into the light and being like, no, like, I am beautifully and wonderfully made, you know, and I deserve to live a joyful life, you know, and I deserve rights and freedoms, you know, and I deserve to be proud of who I am and my community, and you know, and so I think, pride is really important that we center ourselves in that as well, as much as we are advocating. And the final thing I would say is that I think pride is also about strategizing for the future.
Yeah.
And really thinking about where we need to get to and what steps we need to take as a community to get there as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so like, what, sounding cheesy. I'm so in love with Pride. It's such even when like times personally or like culturally have been really difficult and really challenging, I have a lot of reassurance and comfort in the fact that knowing when I'm in this circle and space, I can just forget everything for a while, you know? It's always given me something to look forward to. I didn't go to one last year for the first time since I was like 18, which was a bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. We keep it moving. But I'm really thankful that I'm in a position where, like, despite having conflicts and things that like should make it difficult, it doesn't necessarily. Like, I mean, as you know, like Jamaican culture isn't the most accepting, but I just happen to have a family that just loves the gays, so it makes it, my aunts and my mum all got like these like matching like gay flag bags, which I thought was quite gay flag bags, gay flag bags, which I thought was quite sweet. Very grateful.
So they've always been like very supportive.
Yeah, I mean they've always had like gay friends. I think I'm just really fortunate. I have a lot of friends from certain cultures, not even just black to be honest, but just certain cultures where their community doesn't like rep for it as much. I do think though, and I don't know if this is controversial. I mean, I don't think it is. I do, as a mixed race person, I do feel grateful that my mum is the black one and not my dad, right? Because a lot of the difficulties and like the discrimination and like the hate I've dealt with has been black Jamaican men, and my mum has like always like been like my like comfort. You know, she's made it very like she's always made it her best for like whenever things are going wrong, she tries to ensure that when I can go home, everything's like cool and everything's like chill. So I think when I deep it, I'm probably grateful that my mum is the black one and not my dad, even though my dad is very cool. My dad loves the gays as well.
I love that. I love that. And I feel like, you know, I think a significant thing that can make being, you know, queer so hard is that ultimately often the first people you're rejected by is your parents.
Yeah.
Or you feel rejected from is your parents. And those are the first people you trust as a baby, you know.
Of course.
And
inevitably.
And the people who, well, they're your lifeline for so many years, right? When you can't fend for yourself, and they're meant to love you unconditionally. And so I think what can make life really hard for many queer people is that, you know, how they're meant to go out and trust other people if the people who are inside their home have rejected them because of who they are. So I think it's really, really impactful when parents are accepting and understanding, even if they don't necessarily quote unquote get it, right? That they're just at least creating, even if they don't necessarily quote unquote, you know, get all the ins and outs, that at least, as you've highlighted, they're just making sure they're creating a safe space for their child, you know, to know that they're safe and loved and for them to feel validated in who they are. No, there's nothing wrong with them. And I think that is just it. It's a basic thing, but it's just so important. So many queer people don't have that, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. But I think also like with a lot of things, because I said this to my friends Josh and Faris, who do an amazing podcast, Avoiding My Anxiously Attached Boyfriend. But I feel like as queer people, we think very differently, even for communities that don't directly affect us. Do you know what I mean? Like even when there's like, I'm trying to like link it in a way that makes sense, but I feel like I've gone on a tangent. But like even in a way where like, because you're saying how parents should care inevitably, right? Whether they directly like belong to like a queer community or not, for example.
Yeah, and they're more just like, you know, I think sometimes people, if they want to react positively, but they let the fact that they don't necessarily quote unquote get it or understand it like block them from just like expressing compassion and empathy. You know, they get in their head, so to speak. And something I always say, like when parents are like, oh, you know, I get questions like this like all the time,
of course.
You know, my child's come out as XYZ, and like, you know, are there what books should I read? I don't know how to have a conversation with them about it. And I'm like, this is really great, and like it's really awesome. You're looking to like educate yourself and like here's some recommendations, and like I love that, and definitely like
I love that.
Let's, you know, information is power, and it's really great that you're working to try and understand them more. But ultimately, I think don't let that stop you from just like giving the basics. Which is just like a safe space, compassion, empathy, understanding. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, these are all things that you can give without knowing the understanding the intricacies of a different experience you don't have yourself.
I've always said to people, you don't need to necessarily understand. Like, you know, you don't need to like necessarily, because I think people say to me, not even with like queer people, but just like, I don't want to give examples in case I annoy someone, but like when you but like when someone says they don't specifically understand a certain oppressed experience, right? And I always say, but you don't need to understand. Like, but we're not asking you for you to, because you're not in that body or in that perspective. It's not. There's no way you can 100% get it. I'm just asking for like you to be open-minded and like to like try and be as judge-free as one can be.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, I think. I think you're never really truly ever going to understand 100%, right? What it's like to have an experience that is not your own, right? It's about aspiring to understand. And whilst you're on that journey of, you know, aspiration, just like trying your best to just be a compassionate person, you know? And also to be accountable, right? I think you know, speak for myself and the people that I know and my experiences, I think there's a lot of grace that can be afforded to people who just aren't having the same experience, you know? At least I afford a lot of grace, right? Like, if you say something wrong, quote unquote, or you misspeak or whatever, you know, I'm not personally going to instantly think you're like an awful person. It's really what you do once I clock it that really is a reflection of your character, right? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do.
If I'm like, oh, by the way, this thing you said is like harmful for XYZ reasons, and you know, and you go, oh, thanks for letting me know. I'll act differently next time. I'll work on it. Great. fabulous. That's what it takes. If you're then like, oh, well, you know, I don't know why you're trying to accuse me of being a bad person because I'm not, like, you know, and you make it a thing, then that's a reflection on your character. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Because we all make mistakes. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah, we're only human.
Yeah, for sure. I want to ask something, yeah?
Go on.
Have you seen the debate on TikTok about... I say the debate. TikTok is so interesting because, like, there's so many things which you think everyone's talking about, but it's just, like, a really specific algorithm thread that you're on.
Yeah. All the time.
But, like a week or so ago, it was, like, I fell into a hole of people debating, like, or just discussing, right? Like, what it's like to be the gay friend in, like, a group of, like, straight, like, women.
Yes, I have seen this.
Right, yeah. And like what it's like to be, and I think it came from like a cis straight woman was basically saying that like, oh, isn't it so great? You know, it must be so great to be the gay friend who gets to go to like the bachelorette party or whatever, and it must be like a fabulous time. And then it was like loads of like gay men being like, actually, it's like, that was a dark time in my life when I was like the gay friend.
Yeah.
And like it's actually not as great as like you perceive it to be.
Not if you're singular, no.
Right. But what are your thoughts on like, I guess, that dynamic versus like what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like sometimes with situations like that, sometimes it can feel like gay men are kind of used as an accessory.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be like the token like gay friend for like a group of straight women, personally.
Right.
If you each to their own, and I'm not here to like dismantle anyone's experience or their whatever. But I feel like with situations like that, when it's singular, it can actually feel quite is excluded the right word? Yeah, quite excluded. And I do appreciate, I don't think it comes from like a place of trying to be malicious or trying to be degrading. But I do think, I mean, like, we don't have the same experience, do we? So, like, it's not the same. I think it's great when you can have it where, like, I mean, I have quite a few gay friends, so it's not really an issue so much anymore. I'd be very comfortable and very happy to do so if there was, like, 2 or 3 of us. I can't think of an example of where that's happened. No, I can't think of an example. Like, okay, one of my best friends is getting married. She, to be fair to her, she doesn't really have that many friends. Like, she's probably got like on purpose. I don't think she'll be offended if I say that. And I said to her, I was like, so what are you doing for your like bachelorette like thing? Is there a thing going on? And I don't think she appreciates that she doesn't have to pay for it, but she doesn't want to do that. So what she wants to do is she wants to just have like an evening of like, I don't know, like drinks or dinner somewhere with like me, her two free girlfriends, and like some mums and aunties, which is fine. They're cool. However, like in the back of my head, I'm thinking, like I really wish there was like another queer guy that could just like tag along.
Yeah.
So I think I would avoid it if I could do so myself. But like, do groups of straight women make me feel safer than groups of straight men?
Interesting.
Probably not if they're my friends. Yeah, because I think because I like tried to like suppress like relations with men for so long, like even like platonically, I've kind of like made up for it from like 18 onwards.
Got you.
But sorry, I've gone on a tangent. But look, I would try to avoid it if I could.
Yeah, like being like the singular gay. Yeah,
I don't mess with tokenism.
So yeah, I think like. Yeah, it's interesting because I think growing up, and this is generalization, but I think a lot of like queer guys find a lot of like safety in like amongst like women.
Yeah, it's very common
in school and stuff.
Yeah,
and like
I did.
you know, and like I look back at my friendships, and I'm very lucky and very blessed. Like I've actually always had like queer friends even before I even knew I was queer.
Love that
I
for
had
you.
Queer friends, and so that's something I feel very, very grateful for. And it's something that I didn't realize was like a really great thing until I was older.
So important.
I was like, wow, like one of my oldest friends, it's a black gay guy, and I'm like, oh my god, that's like
amazing.
And this happened by chance, right? But I'm like, oh my gosh, like that, I can't even imagine or even really acknowledge probably like how affirming that must have been in really small ways, right?
Yeah.
And in my adolescence. But like a lot of my friends also are and were and still are like cis straight women, right? And it's interesting how that can go from being like a sanctuary to potentially being something that is like limiting or something that feels tokenizing or exclusionary in some aspects. And I think it's something maybe you only really, I think it's something which you can only really acknowledge once you're kind of out of like survival mode.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
I think the whole like being a token gay thing can often come from just like being in survival mode. Like being like, look, like I'm in a space, usually school, do you know what I mean? And
more
it's
than
like,
not.
Yeah, and it's like I need to be around people who aren't gonna like bully me or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who are gonna get me, quote unquote. So, you know, let me go hang out with like the girlies, right? And shout out to the guy. Listen, shout out to the allies. Shout out to the girlies. Like many a cis straight, you know, woman has been a lifeline for me.
For sure.
Like,
they've been my biggest saviors.
Right, right. I think partially what it is like it's two things, right? One, I think once you're out of survival mode, you realize that actually it's really helpful to be around people or have the influence of people in your life who get you, who kind of just get your direct experience, right?
For sure.
Especially as like a queer person, if you want to be in like queer spaces and stuff, right? Like you don't necessarily want to be like the one in the queer rave with like your group of just straight friends, right?
Yeah.
For everybody else in the space, and not just for you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you want to be amongst your people to a certain extent, and when you want community, right? That's maybe what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, more than anything else.
More than anything else, you know, and you want queer community. I'm not saying straight people can't be your community, but you want
vast majority
as part of your makeup, as part of your village. You want some queerness in there, right? It's affirming, it's supportive, it's helpful, and so it's validating. And so I think like it's that, and that's got nothing to do with like cis straight women and who they can be or whatever. No. Do you know what I mean? It's got nothing to do with them in that aspect. What I would say is that, and luckily I haven't had as much of this, but it happened once or twice to me, and I've had to clock it. Is when cis straight women, because I'm talking about that's what the specific dynamic I'm talking about here, right?
Yeah,
can see you as the entertainment in their group and
the
circle,
Joker,
and then not really, and like dehumanize you in ways that they didn't even realize they're doing, right? Like calling you their gay bestie, to your face, or to other people, but like. Do you know what I mean? And referring to you in like an objectifying way, right?
It's quite dehumanizing.
Very, very that. Or like I've had situations where I've had to clock people because they've been like, "Oh, let me play on Grindr on your phone," and I'm like, "Okay, you're getting too comfortable." Now I don't deep Grindr. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I almost certainly, and that's happened probably because I've had situations where I've been like, "Oh, look at this thing on Grindr." Do you know what I mean? But now you're treating my life like it's a game, and it's not. This is my life. Let's have a little bit of respect.
roll it back a little bit.
Roll it back a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, how about you ask me how my,
dating's going,
how my dating life is going? How's the hookup life going? Like, let's treat my life like it's as human a life as yours is.
It's almost like you should kind of be like, talk to me like in the way that you would talk to like your straight male friend.
Yeah. So I have had friends of mine again, I don't mind being critical. Like that's how you work on relationships, right? That's how you keep them solid and tight. You need to keep providing feedback, right, and working on it. So I'm happy to do that. But I've had to do that. I've had to be like, yo, hold up.
Yeah.
And I think that is also what can come into play when it comes to being the token gay, quote unquote,
of course.
and like how that can be an awful experience is when your friends end up like tokenizing you and dehumanizing you, right?
I agree, but it's really powerful of you to be able to actually assess that and to be able to call people out. I've known so many people that like wouldn't feel comfortable doing so. I've said to my friends, like, how do you expect anything to change if you don't call out behavior? Do you know, you're not doing it to be like nasty or to be like aggressive. You're just you're sticking up for yourself the way that they probably would if it was on the other table.
Yeah, 100%. I think like it's how I try and look at it is that like you need to do an assessment, or I try and do an assessment of the person, especially if they're like a friend of mine, so I know them. an assessment of the situation, who they are, and then therefore how they best like to receive information, right? And then I try and put it across in a way that like best suits them. If that makes sense.
Right, yeah, you're catering to them kind of.
A bit, yeah, just because like, we have if you're like a stranger on the street, then I'm gonna say it straight up how it is, But if you're my friend and I care about you, then I'm really gonna try and make sure that the information lands. Now I'm not gonna censor myself.
No.
So I'm not gonna accept nonsense, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna try and bring it up in a way that makes sense for you. So for some of my friends, it's like a nip it in the bud situation.
Okay.
It's like immediately I'm like, oh, actually, like, don't do that. And they're like, cool.
Yeah.
And we move, right?
Yeah.
I got other friends where it's more of like, I'll take a mental note. And then like, maybe like, say for on a night out and something happens, right? I'll take a mental note. And then maybe we're debriefing the next day, do you know what I mean? Or I'll send a voice note. Because I know that they maybe like to receive stuff like after the fact.
Which is fair.
And they might get a bit like, they're back defensive in the moment, right?
Yeah, I can get that.
So stuff like that, I think that can be really helpful. I think obviously there's levels. If someone's like violated you, then you have every right to just be like, screw it, like I'm gonna just express it immediately, however I feel like expressing it. Mm-hmm. But because what you were saying about like how do you communicate, your boundaries, I guess, is what we're talking about to your friends,
for sure, yeah.
And in day to day, and I think it really is about having strategies.
I think so too. It's really healthy to have boundaries, for sure. I actually got called out recently for it, and I was like, do you know what? Fair enough. So I can't remember the context. It was really stupid. It was on my behalf.
Okay,
like,
what happened?
What did I say? It was something regarding someone's like sex life. Yeah, but it was only because they had asked me literally 5 minutes prior. So I just thought, oh, well, if you're going to ask me, why can't I ask you to? And they were like, I don't feel comfortable. I was like, okay, say no more.
Fair.
But I'm like quite open with stuff like that. So I just like, it doesn't faze me. I don't feel like offended or intruded. Just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Each their own.
Each their own. And I think also as well, it's like, when you are friends with somebody for like a decent amount of time, like a long amount of time, like, they change.
Yeah.
So the boundaries of yesterday aren't necessarily the boundaries of today, right? And that's how things should go, right?
Yeah.
So like, sometimes, you make a comment which would have landed yesterday, you make it today, and then they got hot on with it. And you shouldn't be like, well, I said it yesterday. No, because now it's a new day. It's a new dawn. This is a new boundary.
Yeah.
You'd like the same for yourself, wouldn't you? Like if you change your mind on something, you'd want your friends to be like, cool. That's the tea. It's like that principle applies, when people are like, and like people are being willfully ignorant. And they're like, and so-and-so came in and they said they want me to use X pronouns for them or use X name for them, and like how can what if like tomorrow they decide they want to be a frog or a fish or whatever, and it's like, like can't we like then it's slippery slope and what's gonna happen next? And it's like, if they've said that they want to be addressed as X or they are sharing with you that their identity is Y, then act accordingly.
Just run with it.
And if tomorrow they say something different, act accordingly. It's not hard.
I agree.
Why is that such a wild thing?
But this is why I'm saying to you that I think like as queer people who may not necessarily directly have that applied to them, I wouldn't shrug a shoulder. I'd just be like, okay, cool. That's like, I don't think... Like, I think that's a very common thing for our group of people. There isn't really much that shocks me, right? In that type of capacity, in that sense. And for me, I just be like, okay, cool. Because it's interesting you say that. Because when I think of situations like that, the people that have probably had the most uproar, people that I've known, whether it's close proximities or not, have been like straight men. Whereas like they'll be like, okay, like a pronoun. There's been a pronoun change situation with not really a close friend, but like a mutual friend who's at a function that we will go to, right? And my friends have made comments, not so much now to be fair, but like when we were like younger, and I'd be very much like how does it affect me or you or I? Like, how does it affect any of us? Like, it really isn't that deep. Just keep it moving. I even said to my friend, I was like, look, just address them by their name if you're going to get that confused by it.
Yeah.
You know?
But then, the name comparison is also, like, really, like, it reflects just how silly that sort of reaction is. Because ultimately, would you not just, like, if someone said my name is Steve, would you call them Paul?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Now, if they used to be called Paul, then you may accidentally called them Paul and slip. But then you correct yourself and you're like, no, actually, their name is Steve. Like,
yeah.
It's just like respect.
I know. I personally don't think it's that difficult. I'm just was trying to meet with the less educational, shall we say.
Of course, yeah, meet them where they're at. Do you know what I mean? and I'm glad that they've kind of come around to it, seems like, and stuff.
I wouldn't be friends with them if not. They've switched.
Yeah.
Big up them.
Yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to straight guys, man.
I'm very appreciative. I'm very appreciative of people that are like open to change.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I think
powerful.
I think that is like, you know, when I think about qualities that I look for in like friends, like people in my life regard like platonic, romantic.
Yeah.
That's up there.
Yeah.
That's really up there. Like, you need to be someone who is willing to adapt. And like, when I say adapt, I don't necessarily mean like, you know, bend your morals, your principles, right? But just somebody who, like I said before, like when you receive new information, you're open to changing your opinion in your mind.
Yeah.
And you're not just like stuck like a stick in the ground. Like, you know, you're not a tree, like move. Let's be moving. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm that person. I think it's important for everybody to be that. And also I think like as well, in life, like stuff changes, like the world changes, people within are always changing. And, you know, whoever you have in your life and whoever you call, you know, your family, your community, like they need to be people who are willing to kind of move with it in a way that's like helpful. It's not helpful when things are moving and you need to move with it and the people around you are like, oh, well, like, yo, let's...
For sure.
Let's be adaptable.
Yeah. It's not that difficult, guys.
Yeah. Well, it can be, but it's like, it can be difficult, but it's like, let's at least aspire to that standard. Even if we don't always meet it, let's aspire to that. Like, I get that critique often online. People are like, oh, like, it's so, you know, it's so hard to remember to do all these things, and how can you expect one person to do all these things and pay bills and all this stuff? And it's like, what I'm saying is like, we should all have aspirations to be the best people we can be.
Yeah,
we are often going to fall short, but it's about aspiring to not. Because if we're not doing that, then what are we doing?
Quote.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I wake up every day and I aspire to be the best person I can be, and I aspire to have my actions closely reflect, if not exactly reflect, the values that I claim to hold. And sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. It is what it is, but I'm trying.
That's the main thing, right?
I'm in the interests of like pursuing that standard, and I think everyone should be.
I agree. That's why people love you so much.
Stop it, I'm blushing.
Right, okay. So if moving on, so I asked, this was my one bit of preparation for you.
Oh yeah.
So during Pride Month, are there any particular Pride icons or allies that come to mind?
So we're gonna keep it in-house.
Cool.
I'm gonna say Lady Phil. 100%.
Love her.
You know, the founder of UK Black Pride, an iconic Black lesbian. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of Lady Phil. I think she is an inspiration. And
one of a kind.
One of a kind. And I really aspire to be somebody who creates space, right? I think that is just so important.
Yeah.
You know, for our collective liberation, for us to have space in the world where that often, you know, is trying to limit us from having space and access, you know. And so she's a space creator in a way that I think is like, yeah, I really appreciate.
Big up Lady Phil.
Big up Lady Phil. And then the second one, Emanike.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Love him.
Love Emanike.
Very cool, man.
Everyone on my list is black. Shout out to that. Yeah, I just writer, producer, you know, behind so many bangers.
So many, honestly.
So many.
I did some research today. I didn't realize how much he's done.
So much.
So much.
And behind like so many of the Little Mix singles, like did I think like led on production on the latest Flow album.
He did.
Which is incredible, by the way.
Yeah, I love Flow.
And he's just like black, queer, beautiful, funny, like, and just an inspiration to me for sure. And then the final person is Laverne Cox.
Love her.
Love Laverne Cox, and she's somebody who, because I was like a teenager when like Orange Is the New Black was like popping, which I feel like was that the first like Netflix like smash series.
I would say for definitely representation,
I feel like that was like, but like just like period. I feel like that was like the first big.
Never seen it, you know.
I watched like the first 2 series and I kind of fell off.
Yeah,
but I feel like that was like the first big. Like Netflix wasn't necessarily known for like
having like original shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so for her to be on that and then to be like a visible black trans representation,
pretty monumental, ahead of the time,
amazing, like and just like and just such a inspiration to me at that time. Still is. She's gorgeous. She's a huge Beyonce fan, like I am. And I'm just and I think she's fab. So those are the 3 people I would say.
It's a fun mix.
Yeah, there's so many I could, but like that's the
I narrowed it down to 3 as well. Mine's quite. So my first one is a TikToker called Ty.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
So Ty is, I believe he's a teenager. He is a young gay black man. He does like video tutorials.
Okay.
I found him because a video went viral of him and his straight best friends.
Okay.
This is him.
Aww. Oh, nothing, just proving you can have straight boy best friends and be gay. Oh, I love that. Oh, that makes my heart so warm.
I was close to tears.
Fuzzy.
I was close to tears when I watched it.
I'm not surprised that has millions of like, views.
And it kind of like in a way, it kind of made me like low key kind of like grieve this is so deep, let me make it quick. Grieve the childhood I wish I had. You know, like I see the way that so many young queer black people now thrive at such a young age, and I can't help but feel like jealous. I can't help but feel I'm also like really happy and refreshed that it's a possibility. But I feel like the culture wasn't as accepting and as opening as it is now than it had been like 15 years ago, you know? And I'm so grateful to be alive and to be young where like black queer people are able to thrive and to do what I do. I have a podcast that's about being queer and black. But I just think it's really refreshing to see. And I'm so, even though I do feel a certain type of way, which I try and keep to myself more times than not because I'll probably go cuckoo. I'm really grateful. I'm happy to see there's people like him, and he's so popular. He's doing so well. Oh, so I'm really excited to see where he goes.
I love that. Yeah, and like he looks like he's like fam.
Yeah,
like from the clip
I'd assume so. Yeah, he does a lot. Yeah, he does a lot of makeup videos. So I would assume so.
I love that. I mean, oh god, I even hate that we're even using the terms mask and femme and stuff, because what does that even mean, you know? But terms are just tools we use to have conversations, and I'm sure there are better tools we can use. We use the ones that we got, and I just love that there's somebody like that who is like young and like not only young and like gay and black, but also like femme, which is like so stereotypically, you know, historically looked down on, you know,
for sure
within our community. I think that's like so great.
Yeah, for sure. You know, big up Ty.
Yeah.
And then my next one is I love Dylan Mulvaney.
Oh, interesting.
I'm obsessed with her.
Okay.
And this is so annoying, right? So me and my friends went to Hampstead Heath about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I saw a video on her Insta the following day. I was like, let me not swear. I was like, oh, for F's sake, guys, like Dylan was like in the same area.
What?
And my mate was like, I literally saw her in the toilet. I was like, why didn't you say anything?
What? Wait, Dylan was in the UK. Dylan was here in London.
She was doing it. She's been doing like a UK West End show, hasn't she?
What?
Yeah. I don't know if it's happened.
Oh no,
it's in rehearsal mode.
I'm not challenging you. I didn't even know. I'm just like surprised.
Yeah, no, it's either just happened or she's in rehearsal mode. I can't think of which one it is, but she's definitely doing some show in London or was. Yeah. I said to my friends, like, why didn't you say anything? You know how much I love her.
Yeah.
And my mate was like, I wasn't sure it was her until you sent me that and clarified it. Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Dylan, like a trailblazer for sure. Like the like girls of Days of Girlhood thing. Like, yeah, she did a big one.
Yeah.
And I think she's been so vulnerable.
Yeah.
In ways that I think, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised have been like very detrimental to her, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But she's helped so many people in the process of doing that. So,
and she's so focused on building a community.
Yeah.
Her intentions are so pure, and she's been able to make a career out of it. So big up her.
Yeah. Oh my God, deserved. Well deserved. And that is one thing where like I think a lot of people don't understand fully about like content creation and being like a content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's like really what a lot of people want from you is to exchange like your humanity and like basically like vulnerability sells.
Yeah, it does.
You showing your whole life, like all the skeletons in the closet, like having no filter, like people love that.
I love that.
But they love it for good reasons and they love it for bad reasons, but they love it, right? But what people don't realize or maybe don't think about, especially people who are like looking to aspire to be successful content creators and to build an audience in that sort of way, is how taxing that is.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, it's not easy. Like, no. it may look easy to you, but the reality of that is wild. Like, on your mental. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, too well.
so people who like her, who like have literally built an audience on being super, super vulnerable on like a daily basis,
is really admirable.
Like, I really hope she's in good therapy, like, because the mental load, do you know what I mean, is like not to be like underestimated. So like, shout out to her.
I truly adore her, and I really hope I meet her one day. Yeah, I really, really love her. Yeah, manifesting. Yeah. And my last one is an ally. Oh my God, words! An ally icon. Jade. I'm just obsessed with Jade. Fair. I'm just obsessed with Jade. She makes music for the girls and the gays.
She does.
And it's weird because like I like Light Little Mix, but Jade's just a different level. I'm so obsessed with her.
Yeah, she's great. She announced that album recently.
Yeah, 12th of September.
Yeah, that's Showbiz, baby. Yeah, I like the cover.
And same. And her tour tickets come out next Friday. I'm very excited.
Oh, really?
I don't know why I didn't mention it to her boyfriend when never mind.
Jordan.
Never mind.
No, she's great. Yeah. I'm excited, and like I can't lie, I didn't predict like she would be. Like, I feel like she's that girl, like from Little Mix.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have predicted it.
No.
It's a happy. What's about like, you know, I love Leanne, and you know, I don't have strong opinions about Perry, but she's talented. You know what I mean?
She's cool.
I'm glad they're all thriving in their own ways, but I do feel like Jade looks like the one that's like managed to like, I guess, break through. Maybe I would say.
I think she's probably the one who's probably going to break into the mainstream space,
right?
Because even the Recording Academy, the Grammy, said she was an artist to watch in 2025,
right?
And she's playing Glastonbury,
right?
Like, she's just that girl.
And but I love it, and I'm just, it's, you know, music. I know you're into music and stuff, and like I do like have a weird like thing for like just thinking about these things. And I'm just like something like my analytical brain is like, I wonder like what it is, like what has enabled her to do that, because all three of them are talented. Very talented, and no shade, and they're all doing great in their own ways. Like, I'm not even trying to be,
of course.
You know what I mean? It's just within that, I feel like she looks like she's going to be the one to like really edge it, and I'm really intrigued about what it is. Is it the fact that she's appealing to like maybe like more like a civic community? Do you think with her music? And
I just think it's because it was so unexpected. I think everyone was expecting it to be like more generic pop, but it kind of goes against like conventions. of like what makes a pop song good. Yeah. But I think because it's so different, it works. Angel of My Dreams is honestly one of the best songs I think I've listened to in recent times.
Yeah, it's great. And it's weird and jarring, but cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it is challenging norms, it is unconventional, it is surprising.
Yeah.
I think also maybe there is something about like, I think like, okay, so I think like if you can like authentically speak to like the gays, quote unquote, and when I say the gays, I'm being like intentionally like general and like facetious. Do you know what I mean? I understand that we're not a monolith and all that stuff, right? XYZ, just caveat.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm trying to say though, right?
I do, I'm with you.
I feel like if you can authentically speak to the gays, right, you're good. I feel like the gays, I feel like are such a loyal for audience.
Sure. Without a doubt.
I think for like justified reasons. It goes back to like, you know, stuff like I think of like the AIDS crisis and how like it was really powerful to have like artists like Madonna and like like Diana, like who's not an artist but like a prominent figure, like be like
a queer icon
to be like, actually, you know, they're human. The queer community are human. They deserve our love and our support. Do you know what I mean? Like, and things kind of tied, like Judy Garland and stuff. Like, I guess like it's allyship, right? I guess, right? Yeah. That's where it comes from. So if you can be like a really authentic, supportive ally to the community, they're gonna ride or die, like regardless.
Yeah.
And a lot of the gays, quote unquote, have coin. They'll buy the tour tickets. They're gonna buy the merch. They're gonna go to the. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna stream the single.
Even if they don't, they're gonna do like PayPal credit or.
Do you know what I mean? And also, we drive culture. Period.
That'll be me next Friday.
Carter. But we drive so much culture. Comes from us. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
So I think also as well, it's like if you could be on the forefront of that, you know, it's really. Do you know who I think about in regards to this conversation? Yeah.
Go on.
And I mean this with love. Jessie Ware.
Okay.
Interesting. Are you into Jessie Ware?
I'm not into her, but I know who she is.
Jessie Ware has like always been talented. And by the way, I just had a thought. I don't know too much about her personal ongoings.
Yeah, we'll take that to the side.
Before anyone jumps in and is like, do you know Jessie Ware? I'm not a stan.
Yeah.
This is from an objective
surface level
pop music standpoint.
That's cool.
So I don't know what she's doing in her personal time.
Yeah, big up her.
Right. But what I haven't objectively noticed is that she's always been talented, but she used to do like really like the R&B-esque, like soul, Quiet Storm type music, which I was into at the time. And like she got to a decent level, but like it was like, you know, she kind of hit a plateau.
Cool.
And then she released an album where she basically like pivoted and it was just like disco, like
good for her,
you know, kakadaka, like for the girls, right? And she blew, not blew, but like her the trajectory of her career literally went like
jumped.
Yeah, it jumped, and she was having like, you know, success in the charts, and like she's booked at like every Mighty Hoopla, but like, do you know what I mean? And like, and the Prides, and like I look at it objectively, and you know, again, I don't know her personally, do you know what I mean? It could have been strategic, it could have not been strategic, but I think like her career is again like an example of like what I'm talking about. Like I feel like if we can appeal to the community in an authentic way that's believable,
you've got it,
and give us a banger, you're kind of good. At the same time though, if you do that and then it comes out that you're performative, it's actually a wrap.
You've lost us.
And I love that. Yeah. But I also love that. Do you know what I mean? Who was it? It was she was on X Factor. Ella Henderson. It like came out that she was a Tory and she used to.
Yes, I saw this. Yeah.
And like, and she used to love like the Pride gigs, and then she got blacklisted, like, rightly so. I think so. Anyway, I don't think I've seen her on a lineup.
I don't subscribe to her, so I'm not too sure. I like Mirror Man.
Mirror Man. Oh, is that her song of hers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you not know it?
No. I mean, I think I had like the one song I had of hers was like, I go to the river and pray. Is that the one?
Oh, I'm not too sure.
I keep going to the river.
Yeah, see, all I know is Mirror Man.
Anyway, Scudettori, so, you know, yeah.
Fair. Okay, so we have one last little bit. So it's a little segment just testing pride knowledge. I have
my gosh. Okay.
More like gay knowledge, actually.
That's right.
I have 3 questions because I may have fallen asleep last night whilst trying to do it. Okay, so how many colours does the LGBT flag have?
John? Wait, what? So like what not the progress run, the OG?
I want to say OG.
OG?
Yeah, I want to say OG.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't have got this.
Is it 5?
Are you looking in 5?
Oh, I feel like it might be 6. I'm gonna. Yeah, 5. Yeah.
6.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No!
I couldn't even tell you what the colours are, to be honest.
Oh, it's so annoying. I was like, I feel like it's 6.
I was like, hide my poker face.
No.
Okay. What was the first country to legalise same-sex marriage?
This is awful. I should know this.
I wouldn't have known this, to be fair. I only know the last one, the question after.
I don't know. I don't.
Okay, multiple choice. France, Malta, or the Netherlands?
Malta.
You looking in Malta?
Yeah.
The Netherlands.
No!
The Netherlands is very gay, to be fair, so that doesn't surprise me.
That would be my second choice. Oh, that's so annoying.
Okay, so who is the most streamed queer artist currently on Spotify? Shall I give you a hint? Because if I give you a multiple choice, you'll just know who it is.
Okay.
So they've released an album this year, and they've released an album this year, and like it's probably been. Oh God, how do I describe it without giving it away? They released an album this year, and it's like gone massive. 2 really big songs from it. She's really and she's an OG. She's been around for a while, but she's still very popular, which is quite rare, to be fair. So big up her.
And she's queer.
Don't think she talks about it a lot, but she is. I think people mistake her more for an ally than an actual member, but she is very much a member of the queer community. Like, really popular. Really, really popular. Surely not.
Wait. An album released this year?
Yeah.
2 songs from it.
But one got released like last year, I think.
And the most streamed queer artist on Spotify.
Yeah. I think she might be about... What number is she?
Okay.
I've just given away the she.
Is it that was like Chapel Roan?
I didn't even think of Chapel Roan, but no, it's not.
Yeah, because you also had people mistake it. Chapel Roan's like a very really loud and proud lesbian.
They're more famous than Chapel Roan.
What?
What number is she at the moment? Does it say on here? Oh, second in the world.
Who's more famous than Chapel Roan? Who's queer? I bet you're gonna say it, and I'm gonna scream.
Probably.
And I'm part of the community, but it's like low key.
I don't think it's low key. I just think she just seems to be more well known as like an ally than because she talks about it a lot, how much she cares for the communities and stuff. But she doesn't talk that much about being a member, but she very much is.
And she's bigger than Chapel Roan.
Yeah, by like a lot.
Who is bigger than? You're gonna have to tell me.
Lady Gaga.
Oh my! Oh
dear.
How did that not come to mind?
I don't know. I was like, you must be joking. I thought you were going to, haha, joking. I know, Lady Gaga.
Oh my gosh, I'm awful at quizzes though. I'm like on the spot, I'm really bad. I need to get one right. You're going to have to lowball me, please. Okay. I beg. Oh my gosh. Lady Gaga, yes. Oh my god. Oh, I love the new album. I love Mayhem.
Good. So good.
I love Mayhem.
That's funny. Okay.
Oh my god.
I did actually make them thinking you'd get them right. To be honest.
No, I'm not good at quizzes.
Okay,
this is not my forte at all. Mm-hmm.
Who was the first black openly gay actor to win an Emmy?
The first black openly gay actor to win an Emmy?
So he's still alive. He's still very popular. And he's American. He was just in the UK doing a show. Who was it with? Oh, God, who was it with? Was with that? Oh, I can't think of her name, to be fair, so that doesn't help. He was on a really popular Netflix show, which is probably has the biggest, like, trans cast ever.
Billy Porter. Okay. Okay.
You're safe.
Thank you for the label. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh. I'm off. I am so bad at quizzes.
You either have them or you don't.
My mind, just goes blank. Like, I'm the worst.
I can only do the pop culture bit. Anything else I can't do.
It just won't. I second guess myself a lot. Like, and I'm just like, I'm scrambling around for the answer. It's just not the tea.
You're funny.
I can't. Is that okay, I got 1 out of 4. Okay, well,
Benjy,
there we go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been great to be on the pod.
Yeah, I appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate you for having me on. It's been a great conversation. Yeah. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Shout out to the LGBTQ+ community.
What he said ×2.
There we go. And yeah, let's keep on, taking up space.
Yeah.
Advocating for not just their rights, but especially, or more so on top of that, focusing on the communities among us that are most vulnerable right now and at risk, i.e. our trans siblings, right?
Yeah.
And especially our trans siblings of colour. And, all the additional kind of, vulnerable intersections within that. And yeah, let's just remember the purpose of the season. And also, let's not forget to have a good time and be joyful as well.
Yeah, I'll see you outside at Mighty Hoopla, Pussy Palace if it ever returns, and Black Pride, and all of Jade's concerts in October.
So, yes, queer joy is queer resistance. So let's be joyful.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Woo!